reconnect with each other and to share stories about what you've been doing since in your lives. When we had our previous reunion in 2003, a grad suggested that when I retire from teaching that we should have another one. And so here we are. It's been 44 years since I started out as a student in the CMET program in 1972, and I have been almost continuously associated with the program ever since. I've had a wonderful career, met hundreds of incredible people, and feel like I've helped lots of people move forward in their lives through sharing the great educational experience that we call the PCC Civil and Mechanical Engineering Technology program. I don't know if I'm going to make it. Yeah. You know, this program really feels like a family. When people spend so many hours together in the classrooms, and you really get to know each other. But we have had several actual family groups come through the program. In the 1970s, we had 3 brothers named Van Raden. Some of you may have known some of them. We've had the Boggs family, father and 2 sons. The Fessenden clan, which was a father, a son, and 2 daughters. We had 2 Mercer brothers. We've had many other family groupings. And with us tonight, we have 2 pairs of father-son graduates. Would Carrie and Mike Lee stand up? Where are you? Yay! And Dawn and Rick Rappel. I'd like to tell you a little bit about the history of the program, because many of you know only a small piece of it, the 2 or 3 years that you spent at PCC. Well, back about 50 years ago, a remarkable man named Dick Wysong, who is with us today, had the radical notion that in order to learn to be an engineer, you didn't need to be a math genius, and you didn't need to have been a star student in high school. His idea was that in 2 years, a person could learn enough about engineering to build a career on, and learn the math and science principles needed while learning about their applications to solving real-life problems. What it would take would be lots of hard work and lots of contact time with a team of instructors and fellow students. This education could be accessible to many kinds of people who were not your typical engineering students. People who did not have a strong academic background from high school, or who had been out of high school for a very long time, or who had never finished high school. Women and minorities and immigrants and lower-income folks who had never been considered to be engineering material. Veterans, injured workers, displaced homemakers, and others who needed to start a new career. Everyone who was willing to work extremely hard and put in the time was welcome into the program. These have been the guiding principles of the CMET program ever since. We still have low prerequisites, long hours in the classroom, and math taught by engineering faculty and tailored to the needs of the engineering courses. And we still have a curriculum that goes from basic algebra through calculus and thermodynamics. In 2 years. There are a couple of aspects of the program that no longer exist, but I'd like to tell you about them because they show how unique this program is that we are all connected to. Some of these have been gone for quite a long time, but were around when I was a student. One of these was the Student Design Corporation. Okay, hands up. Who was, yeah, we're talking about way back in the 70s and 80s. In the early days of the CMET program, up until sometime in the 80s, students in their last term of school would do actual design projects for actual customers. The projects varied from a piece of machinery to piping for a solar hot water system to a topographical plot of a piece of land. The students worked with their customers to complete and present the projects, and they actually got paid for the work. The corporate seal of PCC student designers is on one of the display tables. Is that out there? I hope it is. I brought it along. I hope it's out there. Anyway. And then there was another unique feature of the program that was the annual beach trip. Okay, hands up. How many people have been in? Up until about 1991, the entire department, all students and faculty, would go to Camp Westwind on the Oregon coast for a week during spring term. This trip stemmed from a long relationship that Dick Wysong had with the YWCA, which owned the camp. The first-year students, both MET and CET, would learn the principles of land surveying, and the second-year students would help teach the first years and also do service projects around the camp. There are a bunch of photos, both on the screen that you may have seen, and some on the posters in the back, of pictures that were taken during those were taken during the 1982 trip. And there's also a big black and white picture of Dick Wysong at the beach, and I don't know when that is from.
Before 82.
It's before 82. Okay. So nowadays, service learning is a big push in education. Well, we were doing it back in the 60s and 70s. Through the years, the CMET program has evolved and continues to evolve. But many of the important principles remain, especially the one to be, as Mr. Wysong would say, the best damn engineering education possible in 2 years. Well, I think I'm going to talk a little bit about me. It already feels like it's getting long. Okay. I stumbled into the CMET program in 1972, not because I was looking to study engineering, but because I came to the PCC Advising Center looking for a way to get out of the low-paid clerical work that I had been doing. I knew that I was good at math. In fact, I had started out at a liberal arts college when I was 17, planning to become a math teacher, but kind of got diverted in my path. I had dropped out. Now, one thing you got to remember was this was the mid-60s. So I spent a few years doing things like organizing anti-war protests and racing goats. Doing other things that one did in the 60s and 70s. But now I needed to find a better way to support myself and hopefully to build a career, so I came to PCC. I had no idea what engineering was. I thought maybe that I would study drafting or computer programming. But after I'd taken some aptitude and interest tests, a counselor said, "You should go talk to Mr. Wysong in the engineering office." And I go, "What?" So he had me sit in on and observe a class that was underway, which turned out to be a statics class being taught by Dick Ponzi. When I saw the students working problems at the blackboards and being coached by the instructor, and found out that these students had only been in the program for less than a month, and that they were solving fascinating puzzles about forces and how they act on objects, well, I was hooked. For me, one of the kind of revelatory things about studying engineering was that I learned that stuff can be figured out. Yeah. I was raised as a girl in the 1950s with two sisters and with parents that were academic types. I had never played with trucks or taken things apart or thought much about how the world works. So starting to study engineering was intimidating to me, but also really fascinating. Well, so after 2 years, I completed my associate degree, and then I went to work for Hyster, a forklift manufacturer. And I worked not in their design department, but at their technical center where they tested prototypes of their products. I worked as a test engineering technician, conducting tests on equipment and writing up results and conclusions. Well, when I started working there, there were 85 employees at the facility. Okay. 2 of whom were female, both secretaries. I'm really hoping that things have changed a lot since then in most workplaces. The men had a big locker room with showers. The women had a small bathroom. Okay. It took many months for the men to relax around me. For quite a while, I would walk into the lunchroom and all conversations would just stop. What I found was that if I dropped enough 4-letter words occasionally, it really helped, and the guys eventually would kind of accept me.
Do you mean work?
I don't know that I was ever really accepted as a co-worker. Many of the guys were resentful of my presence, and others were just too chivalrous to accept me as a real team member. I really hope things have changed. Well, I worked there for about 3 years, and then I suddenly got an offer from Mr. Wysong as a temporary full-time instructor in CMET. It was September, and somebody had just quit. So I've been here ever since, except for a 3-year foray into training, quality assurance, and process engineering at a silicon wafer manufacturing plant. I've been at PCC for, decades, and then finally retired in June of 2015. So I have seen so many wonderful students go through this program. It's just been fabulous. One of the best things about teaching is watching the light bulbs go on in students' eyes, especially in the first term or 2 of the program, helping a student see that stuff can be figured out, and to develop a systematic, rational way to approach problems. This is extremely rewarding to me. And the people that I've met here are some of the finest that I've known, students and faculty alike. The faculty and staff members that are here tonight are great people who are really dedicated to their students. I've met some of my best friends here, including the co-worker who much later became my husband, Mike Hughes. Well, that's all my remarks for now. I hope you get a chance to chat. I hope I get a chance to chat with each of you this evening. It's just so wonderful to see all these faces and to share stories together. I love you all, and I love the CMET program.